What is going on, guys? This is Boss Sniper Beavetto bringing you another Monster Hunter World video. Today we're taking on the challenge quest. This is a rank 8 dual Odogaron quest, and I've, for reasons I can't possibly explain to you, gone for a heavy bowgun. Now, this may well be a mistake. However, managed to complete the quest after a number of feints. So, early on, put him to sleep, use the sleep knives. I'm sticking up here on this ledge area. I am not going into the main arena, I am not moving very far away, and I do not want to aggro the other Odogaron, which is down there in the arena. So, put him to sleep, and the most powerful thing I've got with me is the cluster bombs, so I'm dropping everything I've got on his head while he's asleep. Now, this has caused him some problems. One issue with these challenge quests is the lack of a steerer jerky that they give you. I've had to waste one there, and we're only a few minutes into the fight. However, he's relatively tired at the moment, and that has given me an opportunity to unload the minigun effect and got some decent damage in. Now, I'm sticking up in this area, as I said. I do not want to go anywhere near the other one down there. I wonder, guys, if I'd stuck with this strategy and just stayed in this area, if I could have made life an awful lot easier for myself. Unfortunately, in a few minutes I do accidentally aggro the first one, and sorry, the second one, and that is makes life an awful lot more difficult. However, worthwhile trying out a number of the different ammos that it gives you. Second bleed there. Going to need to use the Astera jerky again, unfortunately. So, trying out the free shot on it this time, and unfortunately now bleeding again. So, one downside with the strategy is you've got to fight Odogaron in a really small area. However, preferable, I think, to having to try and take two of them on at the same time. One advantage, I suppose, to a small area is he does seem to present himself quite a lot for the headshots. The downside, of course, is that he's hitting me a lot as well. So it's kind of a risky strategy, and as you can tell by the cuts here and there, we have had to go back on the kitty wagon a few times. One issue with the bowgun tended to be that if you achieve the weapon to take a healing potion, actually physically getting it back out again was a problem. He's so fast, so aggressive, it was actually quite difficult to do. There, I just bled to death. He'd fallen over, there was a perfect time to get some damage. I'd bled to death, and I got frustrated and decided to try using a flash pod. This was a major mistake. Do not use flash pod. If you go with the strategy of trying to keep the two Odogarons apart, the flash pod alerted the one which is down in the arena, and seconds later here he was up, spoiling my strategy. So I had to change tack entirely. So when you've got both of them on the go, pretty obvious, use the arena weapons to your advantage. So here they both come, and just before he managed to nail me, managed to pull the Dragonator, and both of them took it in the chops. So this was a good moment. After this, one of them is going to be the one that we've been focusing on is going to be quite close to falling over exhausted. So worthwhile letting them fight each other, trying to keep a good view of them on the screen. I've used the ghillie mantle here just so we can get the weapon out and we can get the machine gun element ready. And having them in the middle of the arena gives you an opportunity just to drop some rocks on the head, which is a marvellous idea. So one of them is down now. We've readied our machine gun, and what I've tried to do here, I've tried to line it up so we're hitting one of them predominantly in the head, but when it flinches out the way, we're sneaking through and causing a little bit of damage to the other one. So again, another rare good moment in a relatively difficult fight. So, having unloaded all of the fun stuff, time to move. There's no earplugs on the armour that they give you, so a bit of evasive manoeuvres and trying to plan what we're going to do next. So freeze ammo is a possibility because they're quite weak to it. They had another feint there, so just skip that so you didn't need to see it. Here we've got an issue. We're out of Astera Jerky and we're feinting and we're causing ourselves a problem. Next time we feint, we're going to have to do something different, because otherwise we're going to die every time we start bleeding, unless we're going to be spamming a lot of healing items. Again, trying to keep out the way, just waiting for an opportunity just to try and get the weapon out. Can be quite difficult. Now, one of them's on the floor. We're going to be able to get out here. We've loaded up the Wyvern Fire already. We're going to be able to lay down some damage. And in the background, to my enormous relief, one of them has now fallen over. This is not the end of our problems, because we're out of the Astera Jerky. We've used our cluster shots already, and it's still a difficult fight against Odogaron using a heavy bowgun in this environment. As you can see, using the slicing ammo is difficult because you only get one shot before you have to reload again. Better to prioritise a type of ammo where you get a number of shots in a clip just to let you get some consistent damage. They do fall over quite easily compared to some other things. Having 5 or 8 in these PS2 clips is a big advantage. Just means that when you have got a window, you can at least get a few shots off, increasing the chances of causing an exhaust or causing a fall. So I'm down to my last 2 continues. Managed to sneak into the arena and not get seen. Unfortunately, Dragonator wasn't available, so I tried to lure him into the centre of the arena to try and get the rocks off. Unfortunately, he was kind of out of range for a number of things. I didn't manage to take full advantage of him not really knowing where I was. If we'd had a trap, that would have been just an ideal time to lay it down. Unfortunately, that wasn't part of our inventory. Missed there with a flash bomb, added to the problems. So, look, tried then to get an exhaust shot on him. Wondered if I could exhaust him in the centre of the arena. We had used exhaust on him previously, and unfortunately, I think that made him a little bit resistant to it. Planning where he's going to be when he actually becomes exhausted is a fairly tricky thing. Yeah, I mistakenly thought he'd become exhausted at that point. Unfortunately, he hadn't. So, there we go. Exhaust has worked. He's not in range of the bombs, but we can at least get off the minigun style effect with this gun. So, Dragonator came back online with Odogaron. He's so aggressive. You can pretty much run over and just pull it. You know he's just going to be following you in. And in his attempts to get to me, he's caused himself a major amount of damage there, which was extremely helpful. So on we go. Unfortunately, it seems every time he's taken some serious pounding. He's ended up becoming more aggressive afterwards. However, we're getting short on lives and running out of time. decided it was probably worth it to just spam some of the rapid fire into his face and see if we can cause some flinches, which turned out to be a pretty reasonable strategy on this occasion. So on we go. Remember, I've only got 2 continues left. Not quite sure I would recommend this slicing ammo. It wasn't getting a lot of DPS in, and the amount of time it takes to reload and the window for reloading is so slow. It was pretty high risk using this. So of all the things in your box, unless you've got a really clear window, I think there are other better things to use. So there's a lesson learned. Just before we managed to get one directly up his butt. So he's in an ultra aggressive mode now. He's climbing the walls and causing some fairly big problems. So we decided to try and get him back to sleep again. Unfortunately, he's now caused a bleed effect. Remembering I've only got 2 continues left. Don't forget this particular trick for when you're bleeding. Comes in a couple of stages in this fight. First, you want to move to your ghillie mantle, and you want to put that on. Second thing you want to do, having got the ghillie mantle on, you want to go into a crouched position. So first things first, make sure that he has definitely stopped attacking you, isn't going to knock the ghillie mantle off. Crouch down and just wait for a second, and magically the bleed effect will just disappear. Not a lot of people know that. Apparently this works better if you can hide in undergrowth. Obviously there isn't any here, but it works just as well hiding in the middle of the arena. So as a one-time fix for bleed, you can do that. Now don't forget, we got our rocks. They're up there, and it just turned out the Odogaron was waiting kind of near the centre of the arena. I suspect there were probably better places for him to be, but we'll take anything we can get at this point. So on we go with the fight. Looking at some more sleep ammo if we can put him back to sleep again. Another difficulty with sleep is that it comes in small clips, but we've managed to get him down, so got to make absolute maximum advantage of this opportunity now. So before we unload the minigun effect, let's take a demon powder just to spice things up a little bit, and straight in the head is the weakest point we can take here, so fire away. Getting some fairly decent damage there. Just let him have all of that. The fact that he's been asleep has made him a little bit more docile, and it's just taking him a second just to come round from that. So I managed to get the entire clip off without him attacking me, and cause a nice big flinch at the end, just so we can reload. But once again, he's going absolutely ape at the end of it, so you need to have your wits about you and start moving around. So I'm persisting with the sleep shot, but I must admit, I think having slept so recently, it was going to take quite a lot to get him back down again. So this is my very final chance. Now, last time we came into the arena, we managed to sneak round the side without him noticing. This time I picked up some of the ballista ammo. See if we can score a few decent hits before he comes into the arena. Not quite sure how effective that was, to be honest with you, but it seemed better than nothing. I think we made slightly better use of it this time round. So priority at this stage, I've got the demon drug, I've got the hard defense boost as well, and I'm going for the biggest clip which I've got, which is pierce ammo number 1, and just trying get down a bit of damage without getting copped, and to my never-ending relief, he keeled over there. I hope that was of some use to you. Leave me a like. See you next time.